Hey everybody, we're Workforce Gaming. I'm Doug, along with Brad,
Hey, everybody.
and following up on all of our E3 conference talkabouts. We're not reviewing them; we're just talking about them. Uh,
We
so
got
the,
those big fancy words to describe our stuff, the talkabouts.
the talkabouts. I think we call them rambles. So anyway, so Sony had their big conference at E3 like they do every year, and I think last 2 years they just freaking knocked it out of the park. Like, there's nothing to say about the last two conferences that like just.
I Yeah, you could. I think if you went back and looked at E3 conferences, number one and number two are 2015 Sony and 2016 Sony.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like, and they like, I think last time they did like define the way that like that, not define, but that was such a classy, cool conference. And I guess starting on this, I think I was pretty excited for Sony going in because I mean I'm unabashed. I like PlayStation. I've always had PlayStation consoles. I'm not gonna like say I don't. So I was really excited going into this. And I think we both kind of came out of this conference with like pretty different opinions. I was actually not a fan of it. I came out disappointed, largely disappointed. I don't know if that's like a good place to start. I think a good place to start is on a positive note. So Brad, how did you feel about it before
I liked it. I don't think it was not the last 2 years, but
Yeah.
this was a case of expectations. I think is where this conference falls because I think I've seen a lot of negative reactions to it, and I think it's because of expectations. I think Sony crushed it the past 2 years,
Yeah.
and I think in doing that, they put themselves in a bind here. You only have so many studios. You only have so much money.
That's true.
You
Yeah.
threw everything out the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So I think coming into this in my mind, I'm going, there's only one studio we didn't know what they're doing, and they still weren't here, interestingly enough, which was Sucker Punch. Every
Yeah.
other studio we know what you're doing. We know there's going to be a second party deal, something like that, some kind of like weird exclusive thing in here. But for the most part, we know what everybody's doing. So in my mind, I
Yeah.
was going into this going, you know what? All I was looking for Sony was I want an update on what I'm playing in the next 365 days, which is what I feel like I got. I
Yeah.
got a whole lot to keep me excited between now and next year's E3. In my mind, I know some of the stuff's long off. I knew they weren't going to be able to come out here and go, "We've got this for you. We've got this for you. We've
Hmm.
got this for you." Instead, here's some cool stuff to keep you occupied about the stuff we did blow your minds with the past 2 years, which is weird to me that some of these things were like so mind blowing the past 2 years, and this year it's like, oh, here's so much more of that, and people are just like, eh. That
Oh
feels so weird
yeah.
to me that like last year all anybody could talk about was, oh man, Spider-Man looks so cool. Spider-Man, how did they do that? That's so crazy. We're gonna play Spider-Man on PS4, and this year it's like, oh yeah, here's a long form demonstration of Spider-Man. I was just kind of like, eh. And it's like, you were
We'll
why?
talk we'll talk about that. I think that was entirely the game demo's fault. That had nothing to do. I don't.
Okay, okay.
We'll
Well,
definitely talk
okay.
about
Let's
that
go.
later.
Let's
That
go to
was.
God of War then. Same idea. Where last year it's like, oh my God, did you see the new God of War? It's like, yep, it's God of War. It's like, but you can't sit here and expect to be blown away every single time. And
Yeah.
this year had the makings of a down year from the get go in my mind.
Yeah, I guess if you frame it in that context, like, yeah, I definitely don't disagree. I think though, to me, I think the thing that like immediately kind of set me into a mode was like straight from the beginning was I they went too arty. Like, I think last year they sort of struck it a little bit lucky with having the concert. Just the concert just inherently is classy.
Yep.
I thought the sitar playing and stuff was really cool. Actually, I thought that was a great way to start the conference. But then like once they started doing the waterfalls, like, oh, that's kind of neat. And then the waterfalls started doing like these really elaborate shapes, and I'm like, like, this is a little too, it's a little too much. and
Yep.
then like and then like the days gone when, like, you saw for a split second they definitely didn't keep the camera on those guys at all. Was like people hanging from the ceiling. They had like snow during their Horizon one. So like the whole thing just felt like it felt like cocky Sony. uh
Yes. It very
which
much felt like PS3 Sony of like, yeah, we're the best. We're gonna. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You just got Phil Spencer up there. Whatever. Check this out.
Yeah, exactly. And they just like, and cocky Sony is never good. Like, if Sony's cocky
No.
about anything, something bad things are about to happen for sure. And I think that just that sort of like that attitude kind of carried on through, and it's kind of set me off. Like the entire time, just kind of set me off, and just kind of like a weird mood, because they did sort of have that. It did feel like that, like a little bit of arrogance, which honestly could be totally reading into. But I think I do agree with you. I think that the things that they showed were stuff that we already knew about. But to me they weren't just. I think just to me personally, there's not things I'm excited about. Like they opened with Uncharted. I just don't like Uncharted. So, but and
See,
that yeah,
and that to me even felt a little flat just because you open PSX with Uncharted. It feels
true.
odd to me
Yeah,
to open two straight conferences with the same thing. I think Uncharted had to be there. It's coming out soon.
yeah,
You had to give us a little bit of something, but I think opening on Uncharted, that felt to me like the only reason that was the opener is if you look at the stuff, it justified the live music. That's why Uncharted was the opener. So we can still do
yeah.
that classy concert open, and that's the only one of the games we have here that really justifies being an opener and justifies that. Because seeing it open PSX, seeing it open here,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh yeah, yep, this was the big thing last year. You did this last year. Whereas even if you open with something like, Detroit, well, Detroit wouldn't be a good opener either. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But open with something different. Show us Shadow of the Colossus off the bat, and people
Oh,
would have lost their minds.
yeah. I mean, we'll definitely get into it. Yeah, but I think like every show opener should be, um, it should be something you've never seen before, which actually I don't think they do super often. Like they do something that you expect but you don't know anything about.
Yeah,
So like they opened with I think the
God
last
of War.
God of War was last one, and the one before that I think was Last Guardian.
I believe so. Yeah,
Correct.
but
Yeah, but it's like we knew that they existed. We knew a little bit about them, and like here is this game. And then Uncharted though, Uncharted doesn't work like that though because it's Uncharted. Like everybody knows what Uncharted is, so it's not a great opener because oh yep, it's more
it
Uncharted.
still looks like Uncharted.
Still looks like Uncharted. Yeah. So but like looking at this list, like I don't. Days Gone might have been better, but well,
You
we'll talk about
you
that.
did too much with Days Gone last year to have that justify an opener.
That's true too. Yeah, like there was no game like what it's like. Oh, we don't know anything about that game. Let's see more of this E3. There just wasn't that. And like even looking at this, it's like they didn't have that. They didn't have that game that we knew a little bit about, but didn't know we really wanted that gameplay. Except Spider-Man. Yeah. So I guess Uncharted. Yeah, we're both kind of like, it's Uncharted. Um, I guess the next one after that, I don't want to quickly talk about this. Horizon: The Frozen Wilds. Very excited for DLC. One, I will say that I was a little disappointed you're playing as Aloy because there are a million of cool things you could do with the Horizon DLC, and playing as Aloy again was not the most exciting thing we could have done with that.
I disagree. I think when you're trying to build a franchise, the last thing you want to do is
Yeah,
you don't want to take the focus off your main character. I think
yeah,
Uncharted's getting away with it now because Uncharted's so big, but I think Horizon's still in that we're still building this.
crap. That's
We're
really
gonna
good. That's a good
we're
point.
gonna keep the focus on Aloy. We're not gonna take her out of the spotlight because when Horizon 2 comes and all of a sudden you're like, oh, but that DLC protagonist was so much better.
True, true. I guess you don't because the DLC always feels like this is what we learned after we finished the game, so it's going to be better. Yeah, I guess you don't want to do that with a new protagonist, at least not this early. That's good. Dang it, that's a good point.
Ha!
Yeah, you could get away with it in The Last of Us because like there were two main protagonists. There wasn't
Yeah, yep.
not just the singular one. Yeah, so I guess that's exciting. It just looked like more Horizon though.
Yep, nothing wrong with that.
Days Gone, man.
This is my theory on this game was greenlit and well into development before Naughty Dog decided on The Last of Us 2. There's no way on earth you have these two games going simultaneously. I think whoever at Sony was like, you know what, Ben, that's a cool idea. The Last of Us went really well. People are into that thing. This will be a good 6-7 years after The Last of Us, so it's kind of like, oh, it's like the spiritual successor type of thing. But it feels different, but it's still got those vibes to it. And then a year ago, Naughty Dog went, you know what, Sony, we do think we're going to keep going with The Last of Us. And they all went, God damn it. Well, we got this thing, and it's already this far, so we got to get that thing out the door because it looks just like The Last of Us 2. So that's my theory with this. But, man, the overly violent kills and stuff, it's just last year this made it feel like it's this fun game. You got mobs of zombies hunting you down, chasing you down. And this year we get this, I'm going to strangle you with a piece of rope, and I'm going to be really super... It felt like two very different games tonally, and I liked the game last year better.
So wait, why is it okay that you strangle a guy with a rope in The Last of Us, but not okay that you strangle a guy with a rope in this one? I don't like either. It's the reason I didn't play The Last of Us. So that's why I'm asking.
My reasoning with that is it doesn't have to do with a like good bad. It has to do with a feeling. The way this game felt last year was just I'm running from zombies. Like there's some there's this like probably this human element with it as well because you do. If I remember seeing in last year's trailer, you see the one guy die and you kind of have to run away from him.
Yeah.
So you do have kind of that serious tone to it, but it went from this is just a zombie game to now this is that Last of Us style game. This is this.
Yeah.
It's a zombie game, but we're gonna be super serious about it. Not only do you have to deal with zombies, you've got to get in people's face about this other stuff, and it's not just that Uncharted. Oh, Nathan Drake killed 6 million people this week. It's
Yeah.
that no, we're gonna make this personal. We're gonna make this feel intense in every possible moment.
Yeah.
And I just want my fun Mob's a Zombie game.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess that is true. I do. Yeah, because it definitely didn't feel as hardcore last year. I would say it definitely felt violent, but definitely didn't feel like that. I don't know.
There's a difference between violence and like intensity.
Yeah,
and I think
I feel like
last year was
actually
violent.
murdering
This
people
is
in this one.
exactly.
And I don't like games where you murder people. Like I'm okay with games where you kill people. I don't know if there's not really a difference. I get that. I get how hypocritical this sounds, but like
no, there totally is.
Yeah,
because
I like
again,
Hitman a lot, but
but even like Hitman, there's this like Hitman, like even going back to Uncharted, just because that's what always comes to my mind when people are complaining about killing people, because that doesn't make sense for Nathan Drake. But even in that game, it's like you're killing people, but there's no scene in that where Nathan Drake is holding a gun in some guy's mouth and you know what I mean, or like strangling him with a piece of rope. That doesn't happen in Uncharted. It's just, oh, look at those those essentially just robot bad guys over there. Boom, boom, pew, pew, yay, Nathan Drake. Whereas this is like, oh, this dude, you took my friend. Like, let me. There's a difference between violence and intensity in my mind, and this game went from violent to intense, and I don't think I'm okay with that for this game.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It doesn't seem fun.
Or justified. Justified. I feel like it's almost even a good word there.
Yeah, and then the ending thing was not great either. It didn't really end on like anything. It's just like, okay, it's like, oh, a zombie bear. It's like I'm pretty sure I've seen that somewhere else before.
Didn't Morrowind just do the giant bear thing like 2 weeks ago?
Oh, good point. Shit. I was wondering. I was like, I feel like I just saw this. That actually probably was it. Oh boy. Okay. It's all downhill after this, guys. I had no. It's funny. Like I was listening to Easy Allies stuff beforehand, and they were talking about some copyright had been made that was going on the internet that Sony had just done some copyright thing. And I was like, it's 5 minutes till the press conference. I'm not gonna look at it. I just got off everything. I was like, okay. This was fucking incredible. I had no idea this was coming. It was not even like a thought in my mind that they would ever be remaking this game. But I got it like this first screen they showed. I saw the bridge. I was like, it's Shadow of the Colossus. Like, I cannot believe it's fucking Shadow of the Colossus. Oh my god. Oh my god. It sets my heart aflutter.
So, question for you: would you have been more excited for this or a new Team Ico game? Because like Shadow of the Colossus, I feel like it has that cult status of greatest game ever. But I'm always just curious because I honestly have never even finished Shadow of the Colossus. I got irritated by the controls after like the third one. And
no, exactly. That's what makes it so cool. Okay, well, keep going.
Okay, keep going. No, keep going.
No. No, you said that's the one of the things that's really cool. Of just the idea of this really quick is like you said you stopped it because the controls are frustrating. When I played it on PS2, the thing ran like 10 frames a second. It just was not a good. The open world is super barren because they couldn't do it. And like there's these, it's an incredible game, but there's these huge issues with it that were held back by the tech or just the game design or something. And like now they have a chance to fix it. Like it's incredible. Like it's like it feels like Ratchet and Clank was like that's a remake, but it's a game that I felt like didn't need to be fixed. Crash Bandicoot, still good games. They don't need to be fixed. Like Shadow of the Colossus is an amazing game that needs to be fixed. And like the fact that they're fixing it is just like holy crap. And also, and then you asked me like if I'd be more excited for new Team Ico or I guess they're called something else now, or this. But like the fact that it's made by Blue Point makes me excited that I know it's coming out soon. Like if Team Ico like announced a new game, they're like, that's cool. I'll see that in a while. Like you know what I mean? Like that wouldn't actually. I don't think that announcement would hit as much as I like those games. I don't think that would hit as hard just because.
You know what happened with The Last Guardian, whereas Blue Point they got stuff to do.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like, and I know they can finish a game, and like I know that game is like it's cool that's Blue Point because I think one of the big issues with Shadow Colossus is always technical issues, and it's kind of neat having a company that is known for having pristine technical prowess working on it. It's like it's like the best guys you could have had do it, and they know that game back and forth because they also did the PS3 HD remaster, so they had to rebuild that game from the ground up anyway.
Yep.
So yeah, oh my god, Did you care about this at all? Or you or with this?
I'm excited to try it again. It's again, between the technical problems and the controls, I was just I I have no patience for a game that's not fun,
Mm-hmm.
and this game to me was not fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna disagree with that. I think it was a cool game that had some neat ideas that just weren't totally well implemented.
I
So
think it was a game that was ahead of its time. In my mind, it's one of those things where this game came out at a time where this game should not have come out. This game had no right coming out in like 2002 or whenever it came out. It had no right coming out at that point. This was a game that needs something like the PS4 to really be appreciated for I think what it is.
yeah, yeah, it's kind of like the Last Guardian. Like it just needed the tech to do that art style. Shadow Colossus like was limited by its tech, and now it's not. And so its
Yeah.
art is no longer limited by its tech. It's unchained. And honestly, like they haven't talked about it at all totally, but they cut like maybe 5 or 6 colossi to make that game. So who knows? Uh, real quick, this one I'm really excited for, Monster Hunter Worlds. Do you have any thoughts on this one at all?
No experience with Monster Hunter at all. Curious, it looks cool. It's one of those series that always sits in the back of my mind, going like I should try it sometime, but it always feels too aimless for me in my mind, which always makes me a little hesitant when the game doesn't give me like a very direct purpose.
Yeah.
So that's my only hesitation with it. It looks cool. I'd be curious to try it, but it's not something I'm dying to play.
Okay. I think this one. I think yeah. That's what I figured. I think that's what a lot of people kind of feel like too. Is like, oh, I kind of want to try this. Not my big thing with this is like it just always looked like a PS2 game, and I thought the monster designs were super cool. And I was like, man, why does it still like these monster designs would look so amazing on a PS4? And that's it meant that like that first dinosaur thing was amazing, and the dragon thing was cool. Like everything just
Yep.
looked cool. Everything, all
Oh
the
yeah.
creature designs. I'm a sucker for creature design. If you have a good creature design, I'm gonna love your game. So very excited.
I don't
Where
know.
yeah.
That's like the fourth time you've used that line since we started recording these. So we're recording these all at once, even though they're cut into different videos. And I think
Yeah.
you've used that exact same line like 4 times now.
Dude, good creature design. Like I like good creature design.
Anyway, sorry.
I think I know no I say it a lot. It's like it's my favorite thing about games. The only thing I am worried about this, like it has to compete with Horizon. It does not look as good as Horizon.
Yeah.
It looks cool, not as good as Horizon though. That's all I gotta say. Then they showed a Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite trailer. Does not look as good as other fighters coming out, but they had a new demo. I think we'll probably talk about that later when we both get a chance to play it.
It's great.
Okay, it's great. Real quick on PSVR stuff. Try to do this real quick. They announced they did not say it was a follow up to Until Dawn, but I think both of us sort of like immediately like, oh, that's the sanitarium from
Yep.
Until Dawn. And actually, there is a hidden room in that. I remember finding a hidden room there where they actually had the professor. He was like a dead guy in a chair.
Yeah, there's a ton of weird hidden stuff in that
Yeah.
that section of Until Dawn. So I'm super pumped to see where they go with this because it's more Until Dawn and it's actual Until Dawn, unlike Rush of Blood.
True. And I think if you played Until Dawn and like are aware of like what period this is set in, it's set in the past in the sanitarium. Like that's exciting stuff if you've played it. Otherwise, it's a massive spoiler if you haven't.
Yep, for sure.
Monster of the Deep, a PS Final Fantasy 15 fishing game. Very excited. I love fantasy fishing games. There's only like 2 in existence, so I'm excited there's a third.
No feelings.
Okay. Real quick, Moss looks pretty cool. It's not Redwall. God of War. How do you? Yeah, sorry. It doesn't get. How do you feel? What do you feel about God of War? How do you feel about the showing this year?
God of War.
Yeah.
I like that. I think it gives you that sense of more God of like that. Those classic God of War elements are still in there. The kind of those crazy quick time event kills that they didn't specifically state they were quick time events, but you kind of saw a couple of those. The big monsters. You had a lot of that traditional God of War stuff in there, which I like. The one thing I do love is just the scene where he walks in and you see Kratos painted on that vase.
Oh,
and he's
yeah.
like looking at it and he's like, oh, and they're talking about his past. So that's the thing I'm almost most curious about this game is a lot of people are big on he has a son and everything. I just want to know how he went from Greek mythology to Norse mythology and why he's there. That's all I care about. Like I could probably get to chapter 3 in this game, like mission 3, chapter 3, however they lay it out. Yeah. And I'll be pretty satisfied with whatever the story is. Cause that's all I really care about with this at this point is how do you get there?
Yeah, I'm trying to think like I'm trying to think there's any like if he was walking to like to the Nordic side, I was like, could he walk through any other cool mythologies like between there? But I was like, I don't know if
I think
I don't know any European mythologies. Maybe he fought a dragon. I'm actually curious like if they are gonna do that journey section, like if he's got to fight like unicorns or something in Europe before in England before he gets to or not England. I guess where you fight
Germany.
Germany, maybe you fight unicorns. Maybe you fight like but I
Oh,
feel like
that's in between.
Nordic might not be the only one that's in here. Yeah, I thought it looked really cool.
Ooh, that's a big point to move off of because that would be very cool.
Yeah, I think Norse will be the main one. I definitely don't think it's the only one. I don't. There's
Ooh,
like you said, like how did he get there? Like if he walked there, he definitely had to walk through a few other mythologies to get there.
interesting. I didn't
Yeah,
think about that. That'd be cool.
yeah,
Okay, sorry. Continue.
yeah. I just thought it was really neat. It didn't. I agree with you. I think not. I would say the vase necessarily, but I think that the fact that there is a character who knows what he did is crazy. Like
Yeah.
I didn't expect that at all. Like I like there's gonna be somebody who's basically going to threaten him knowing his past, which is like I guess you could cause like an apocalypse in like part of the world somebody's gonna notice. But very cool. Um, Detroit, you're a huge you're a huge fan of Detroit. How did you
Looks awesome. I love the whole robot uprising androids. Are they people or not? Like, where do
yeah.
they fit it? I love the whole this game just screams everything about this game screams. This game was designed for you, Brad. Here you go. Have a great time. I love Quantic Dream's old games.
Yeah.
I love the tone of this game. I love the mystery element. I love the sci-fi element. I love the fact that it's set in Detroit. Like, even though it doesn't look at all like Detroit, you can name that city. I was a little disappointed by that because it's like me and Doug are both from and have lived around Detroit at various times, so it's kind of that cool. Like, oh, nobody talks about Detroit like this, and then they show it, and it's like, oh, that's generic city that you just happen to call Detroit.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything you said. I think it was really cool seeing more. It just felt like this is more Detroit, but this city, like they're not taking advantage of the city. The makeup of the cast does not make sense for Detroit. I mean, it's definitely not something I feel qualified to talk about. So for their last demo after Detroit, this was sort of the show closer. I think everybody was waiting for this was Spider-Man. So this is gonna be like the big reveal that Spider-Man is back. And I don't know if they showed Spider-Man is back. To me, I think I think at first when the demo started, I was like, this is really cool. Like, oh man, this is. And then I realized, like, this looks like a lot of Spider-Man games. Like it just looked like a lot of Spider-Man games.
But that's okay. I'm okay with just a really good Spider-Man game. I think this is one of those things again where I think people are looking too far for something. Like, I just want a really good Spider-Man without the time traveling and 8 different types of Spider-Man. I just want Spider-Man. I want Peter Parker swinging through the city, hunting down Fisk. That's all I want. That's all I want. And that's what they showed. Now, I could see some issue with Arkham Combat's obviously there, but whatever. Like, that's another conversation of that becoming the staple gameplay style and whatever. Yeah. And there's some quick time events, which again, I know some people aren't cool with, but in my mind, I'm looking at it, and the thing that I keep focusing on is chasing down that helicopter through the city and the fluidity of movement between going from web slinging to hitting that building, running sideways to turning the corner to back to web slinging. Yeah, that one sequence in there sold me on this game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, that was a cool sequence, but that was like not a large percentage of the demo. I wouldn't say it was like even like a third of it, maybe a quarter of the demo was. The rest of it was just like that normal beating up goons sort of thing. Like, I feel like I've seen in a lot of Spider-Man games, and then followed by QTEs, which I've seen in a lot of Spider-Man games. So yeah, I guess I don't disagree. I think the swinging section looked sweet. I think it looked cool. But I think I just kept hearing echoes of past Spider-Man games while I was watching it.
Yeah, and I think that's gonna be the touchy point for this is how does it differentiate itself? How does this go from just being that's better than those other Spider-Man games to going to this is just a good game in general. It's that step that Arkham took of going from being a good superhero game to just a good game. And that's the step that I'm curious to see where this falls in. Does it fall into that for a superhero game, great. It's better than the Captain America tie-in, and it's better than Spider-Man Web of Shadows, but does it take that Arkham step of going to no, this is just a damn good video game?
And that's the thing I think I was disappointed with it. Like, I just didn't feel confident in saying that after seeing that demo. And I think that's what the whole idea of this Spider-Man PS4, at least it was this is Spider-Man done right. And it just didn't feel like that. Yeah.
I will say I will say that I felt like this was on that edge.
Yeah.
This could very easily, watching that demo could very easily go either way depending on which sections of that are the primary focus of that game.
Yeah.
Because there were that minute or two where you're like, ooh, this is cool.
Yeah.
And there's that minute or two that's going like, I've seen this before.
Yeah, like I mean, in every Spider-Man game, you chase a helicopter or the Green Goblin on a speeder thing or whatever. Like that's a scene that's like in many Spider-Man games. I just didn't, and that's the thing. I think that was like the thing I felt kind of disappointed with, just in general with the Sony one, is like it ended on that, and that didn't feel like we did it. It feels like you guys, we need to see more of that, like, for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure that will be huge at PSX this year. So.
Oh yeah, I hope so. Oh. Yeah, a lot of the stuff that I feel like was missing, I'm hoping they're saving for maybe not saving for PSX, or maybe like, guys, we're just not going to get it. I think the PSX is literally like, people could not get this in by E3. Like, they just aren't going to be able to do it. So let's have another time, like literally 6 months later, in which, they have another 6 months to create another demo. So they have,
and I think that using past years as an example, E3 is your moneymaker. Yeah. They're your big money games. They're your Spider-Mans, your God of Wars, your Destinies, your Uncharteds. And PSX is your fan favorites.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And this felt like a money conference.
Honestly, what made it feel like a little bit of a money, like, I don't disagrore with you at all. I think the one thing that actually stood out was when he was talking about like the really cool games that came to PlayStation this year. This like the past few months. I've been playing Nier, and he just missed Nier. I was like, Nier was a cool game,
well,
but
Nier,
I was like,
Persona. He didn't talk about Persona.
No, he did. No, he did say Persona 5. He did say Persona 5.
Okay,
yeah, he did say that. But I don't disagree. I think that would probably be an example. It's like he just like missed it, and I was like, this conference isn't for that kind of game, and that's
no, it's not.
So it's just kind of these little missteps, not missteps, but these little like things that kind of bug me throughout the conference. Like, okay, it's this kind of conference, not that kind of conference.
And I think that shows too when you've got the pre-show is where they announced Undertale. They announced more Ni no Kuni 2 stuff. Yeah. Those are the types of things that are big PSX announcements because they're that fan favorite type of thing versus your Horizons, your Uncharted, this is gonna make us some money.
Yeah, and they announced like the follow-up to Until Dawn during that pre-show. Like, we didn't even talk about that. Like, they made a game where you just make decisions as a group. Like, that's awesome. Because that was the best part of Until Dawn.
Yeah, and again, that's not the game that's going to come out and make you millions of dollars. So that's the PSX game, and we'll throw you a bone and throw some of that stuff in here. But that's a PSX announcement.
Yeah, and maybe that's it. Maybe that they're now differentiating. It's like, we need to save some of these for this conference is for this and this conference for that. So I guess on that note, that was I guess it was an okay conference, a little disappointing, but if you kind of, like you said, if you had tepid expectations, then it was an okay conference. All right, we are okay. We are Workforce Gaming. If you guys like what you heard, you can follow us on Twitter @Workforce Gaming or subscribe to us on YouTube. See you guys next week.
See ya.